I recently had a parent reach out asking if it's possible to be too honest too soon during the sex talks. At first, I didn't understand her question because you can have the sex talks in an age-appropriate way starting at any age. But then it was explained that they had had a fear after answering the question, where do babies come from, that they had said too much. Now, the question is, can you give your kid too much sex information too soon? I'm Kathleen and I make videos for parents on how to have the modern day sex talks. There's a reason I am always saying to parents to prepare themselves to answer their kids' sex questions in a medically accurate and age-appropriate way. Take, for example, the question, where do babies come from? If your 4-year-old asks you this question and you start answering it in a philosophical way, like where does man come from, or how did humans originate and evolve over time, you're not quite being medically accurate and age appropriate with them, as there are a variety of theories here. And your 4-year-old has asked you a specific question in relation to their understanding of the world around them. By answering their question without actually answering their question, it may buy you some time and they may even accept your response, but they may not feel heard or believe that you were truly being honest with them. Over time, if they come back to you with questions and then find out different answers elsewhere, they may stop asking you questions altogether. As parents, we are answering loads of questions all the time from our kids. When your kid asks you a question, you try to give them an answer comparable to their understanding. This is basically explaining things, even complex things, in a simple way. You're layering information in your answer to their question so that it's preparing them for the next level of that answer. Because they'll critically think about it and then ask more why questions as they get older. For example, when you're answering the question, where do babies come from, to a kid in the primary age, you don't actually need to talk about vaginal sex. You can simply say, babies are made when a sperm cell and an egg cell come together. The cells will multiply and grow bigger, developing into a baby. Do you want to look at a book with me and see this illustrated? Most kids in the primary age will happily accept this answer as it's medically accurate and age appropriate. Now, over time, this can mean weeks, months, or even years down the road. They'll come back to you after critically thinking about it and say, well, if sperm cells are in one person's body and the egg cells are in another person's body, how do the sperm and egg cell actually meet? To which you can easily answer that question, even without saying the word sex. You can check out this video on how to do just that. Layering information in the sex talks is fantastic. Parents, you have not harmed your kid if you've explained where babies come from and used the word sex. Did you give them too much information too soon? Yes and no, but each kid is different, and parents, you know your kid best. When explaining what is sex, I encourage parents to not associate the word sex with only vaginal sex. This is why I avoid using the word sex in the answer to where do babies come from. However, if your parenting choice is to explain vaginal sex to your kid in the primary age, that's your choice as a parent. But remember, you're not finished and the sex talks are not over. Your kid probably heard you, but didn't comprehend everything. You are probably going to need to have smaller and more condensed talks in order to ensure understanding and comprehension over the next few years. If you're a parent who's comfortable talking with their kids about sex, sexuality, and sexual health, that's fantastic, but you're in the minority. Many parents I meet are afraid to have the sex talks, and they delay having them, and many end up never talking to their kids about sexuality. A 2017 survey on parent-child communication around sexual health asked emerging adults, individuals aged 18 to 25, how often would they recommend to parents to talk with their kids about sex? The majority stated that parents need to talk with their kids frequently, early, and on a wide variety of topics. When I tell parents that I recommend explaining what is sex at some point during the intermediate age, ages 7, 8, and 9, do you know what most parents tell me? What? 8 years old? That's way too early to explain what is sex. I will wait until they're older. And oftentimes, waiting until the kid is 10, 11, or 12 to explain what is sex means that they've already learned about sex from other sources. So if you're one of these parents that's worried that you're having the sex talks too soon or wondering, am I giving them too much information? Take a breath. You're having the sex talks, and that's what kids want. As you can see, I'm still in the process of moving. I'll be back shortly with another video. In the meantime, follow me on the socials.